How are you? This is Oliver Fernandez with the Imperfect Entrepreneur. And today I have one of my special guests, a guy that I met at Tony Robbins. We just sat next to each other and we connected, and he's got an awesome business, and I can't wait to share him with you today. Jacob, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me on. Yeah, it's crazy that, two people are looking to get into self-development. They get into it, they meet each other, kick it off, and then just keep seeing each other at events time after time after time.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And honestly, actually, we were hanging out with each other like a couple days ago at the 10X Growth Conference, man. So it was awesome getting a chance to see you back in person and get a chance to meet with you and spend some time with you and honestly go deeper with you. Because honestly, that's what my goal has been, is to not only just make good friends at these events, but to go deeper with the people that I meet at these events. So.
100%. That's crucial, like nurturing that network of the people that you meet instead of just kind of letting it go. Hey, I met a bunch of people, don't ever talk to them again. And then what'd you get out of that networking?
Yeah. It's kind of like what Jesse Itzler talked about, was like, just like sending that like little message here and there, like constantly, like it's like your wallet of good trust with people, right? And like, is your wallet full or is your wallet empty? Have you put anything in that wallet, like in terms of like, hey, I saw what you did, or touching base or anything like that, or is your wallet just empty with just no touches at all? So good to have you on, and just good spending time with you again. So I want to start off with like, where are you from, and where'd you grow up?
Okay, so I guess I grew up in Jacksonville, Illinois. I'm in Springfield, Illinois now. It's been a kind of a long travel from growing up there, going to school, doing all these things, and then kind of getting over here to Springfield and realize I always knew I wanted to have a business, but once I got here, that transition finally happened. So it's been a long journey, which I didn't know which direction I was going to go. I was always wanting to start a million different things, but it kind of ended up in landscaping.
Got it. So I don't know if everybody knows where Illinois is, but I've been there twice, and every time I've been there, I've gone to Chicago. So
Yep.
in Illinois Chicago is that the cap? That's not the capital, right? But that's just the biggest
No,
city.
actually, that's the funny thing. So when you say, like, coming from a big conference like what we were just at, you say Illinois, and everybody's like, "Oh, you're from Chicago, man. That's great. I've been there."
Yeah.
Actually, where I'm from is the capital of Illinois.
Okay.
So Springfield, Illinois is the capital. It's central, but Chicago is pretty much Illinois to everyone else.
Yeah. Got it. Cool. All right. So like, how did you grow up? Did you grow up like with your mom and dad, and like what were their thoughts on business?
So, I grew up, my mom was always a stay-at-home mom. I mean, she dabbled in a little bit of stuff, and my dad was a UPS driver. And I mean, I'll tell you, if you want to get a good example of how to work hard, 60, 80-hour weeks, week in, week out, working through the holidays, like my dad was a working animal. And to this day, even in my business, like he wants to work with me, do stuff with me, like he doesn't want to stop. I mean, that's kind of the way I'm wired. So I got to kind of see that all growing up. And it was really, really weird because all growing up and when I started making a little bit of money, my mom would always kind of give me a hard time about how I didn't save any money or I didn't do the right things with money. And I don't know, it was weird when I started taking the shift towards knowing I wanted to have some kind of business someday, because there was a point in time when I couldn't drive, but I remember telling my mom, "Hey, I want you to drive me to this city council thing where they're talking about business planning." And yeah. So like she drove me in, and I think the thing that I was most frustrated by is like, I'm like, dude, I'm like 14 or 15. And it's infuriating me that you're telling me that I'm supposed to like take months to create a business plan, to create a business. And so this is kind of like when I first had that first hit of, I think I want to be involved in business. And from there, we're living with my parents, there's all these different little things. We did some detailing cars. We did like some mechanic work. We did all these little different it was always this deal of how do I make money without just doing a job, like working with someone. So my parents never really, it wasn't something that it was such a big deal that it was something they needed to nurture, because the true thing that really, really gave me my resilience is where me and my dad connected long term, was from the time I was 11 till the time I was probably 20, 21, I raced motorcycles, and we were all in all the time. broken bones, 100% go no matter what. And I pretty much, between my dad's example of how to work hard and wanting to go pro racing motorcycles, which I really quit right before I got my pro card. I just decided I was doing pro amateur events, getting my points to get my pro card that season. And I was just like, you know what? I'm so sick of always being broken, always getting more concussions, always this, always that. And, but it gave me this resilience of, I remember I had one year where I broke my collarbone 3 times and I wanted to go to a national event on the second one. And I just went anyway. So I rode through that. And it's kind of like business. You're going to get hit. You're going to feel broken. You just want to give up. And motocross, it taught me so much of that. There'd been times where I'd had like a major wreck, and I remember getting knocked out at the beginning of a race and couldn't remember where my trailer was at, and going back to the trailer and being like bawling, being like, why am I doing this? But you just get this passion and you keep going. And I carried that 100% into business.
Wow. That's you just said a lot of really good stuff in there. And I was like, wow. So when you said we, who's we? Is it like you and your dad, or was that?
Yeah, my dad, racing kind of caused a rift. So my parents always stayed together until they just recently got divorced. But racing caused a rift between my mom and my dad, because my dad was like, and that's how I'm going to be. My dad's like, my son is wanting to do this. I see the passion and I'm in. And that's how I promise, that's where I'm at for my kids 100%. I don't care what it is, unless it's actually like, hey, they're wanting to get shot at, for a living. Maybe I would be into that. But, so it was me and my dad when I say we. And
okay.
My dad.
So was he also there when you were doing the mechanic and the car detailing and all that stuff? Was that we, or?
He was he knew that I was wanting to do stuff. Okay. And it was always such a challenge for me, especially when I was really young and couldn't drive, so what was awesome for racing is we had 35 acres and we were like 15 minutes from town. But that was also bad for any way to make money as a young kid, because you can't, if I want to go to my neighbor's house, I have to walk for 15 minutes down the road, and then it's like 2 miles to the next person.
Wow. Yeah, no, I grew up in the country too, so I get that. But honestly, it's good having an opportunity to do all the outdoor stuff, because like what you were saying about like racing that motorbike, and dealing with broken bones. Like I never broke any bones on dirt bikes or 4-wheelers, but geez, man. So I totally can see how that plays itself into like business, because obviously you're getting beat up, you're getting pushed around, you know what I mean? Like you have to just keep getting up and keep moving forward, Yeah. So that's great that you got those lessons and you were able to take that lesson in sports, right? Or not really sport. I guess, what do you call that? A sport?
Racing's a sport, it's just not thought of like the common, bat and ball sport.
Yeah. So you were able to distill that down and then to use that in the business. So that's great, man. So can we unpack the commerce? So why'd you want your mom to drop you off at the commerce, the commerce meeting?
So I don't know. It's so weird. I'm like, why do I want to start a business? I don't know anything about business. My school didn't have business classes or anything. And there was something that drove me to I want to see what a business plan is, because that's the first part of starting a business. That's formulating and getting it rolling. That's just so funny. And now, I do a lot less business planning than they ever talked about doing in this thing. I'm more act and go. And I knew when I got out of the meeting, I'm like, this is ridiculous. It cannot take that long. How do these people even have businesses? You can't not make money for that long while we just think about things,
Yeah.
That was my biggest takeaway as I don't know, I'm assuming I was 14 or 15. But yeah, it's been so long ago that I just know the story, but I can't explain why. Yeah. I don't know what drove me to it.
Yeah. Well, at 14 or 15, I definitely wasn't thinking about going to the Department of Commerce. So all praise to you. So you've kind of hit on a little bit. Do you mind sharing what business you're in?
I'm in a landscaping design and installation. We also do a lot of mowing and maintenance. And we are continuously expanding that, trying to we have a really, really strong office here. So we're trying to roll up more services that we can either sub out or offer to offer a client like a total outdoor living package and the maintenance that goes along with it.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that. When you said that, that just sounded cool. Outdoor living package. I'd pay for that.
Yeah.
Whatever that is, I
Tell you
want
that.
that. That's cool. Wow, so that's cool. So can you so when did you start this business and how long have you been in business for now?
So and I got to give you a little lead up to that. So I came to Springfield from Jacksonville, and I was a landscape foreman when I was in Jacksonville. So when I came to Springfield, it was to get into the automotive industry. I spent 2.5 years at one body shop. Then I spent probably like 4 months at a race shop, and then I got into where I thought was going to be like, it's the best shop in town. I'm going to be here forever. It's going to be my career. And then at some point I realized, wow, here's the ceiling on pay. You know, these techs were making 100, 120, and that's all I was ever going to be able to do. And it started like kind of freaking me out that I get that that's good money to a lot of people, but I just, that stopping hard stop point, it gives me anxiety. And I started realizing, man, I want to start a business. I've had this kind of resonating with me before. You know, I remember even racing. I was wanting to like bring parts with us to sell them at the racetrack, to like a little side gig at the racing. And so what happened is I started looking for the opportunities. And the first one, because I was so entwined, the automotive industry in my area, I learned and introduced and met more people and built a stronger network in 4 or 5 years than I did in the previous 20 years of my life where I grew up. And I felt really good about that. So it was initially, I wanted to buy a body shop. I even had one. I was looking for the financing. I'd been talking to an owner that was wanting to get out of it, and it just ended up being more than I could take. So, you know, it just seemed so expensive. And somewhere in there, I was just like, well, you know what? I'll just start mowing lawns. I've got a weed eater. I've got a blower. I've got a push mower, and I've got a little tiny trailer that I can borrow from dad. It'd be better than working on cars all day long and painting cars in my garage, doing it on the side, because I still was doing side stuff for me, you know, all night long and all weekend. And I started like walking the streets, handing out these little tiny door hanger flyer things and knocking on people's doors. And I remember asking my roommate, I said, hey, you want to do this with me? I don't think he ever spent one day working with me, but on that first conversation, he said yes. And so that started in 2014. I did that. I did the full-time gig, which was, you know, at the body shop. It was a 40 to 60 hour a week job, depending on how busy we were. And so I did that. And then I did trying to grow this on top of that on nights and weekends. And that would have been like 2014. And in 2015, I told the boss probably 2 or 3 months ahead of time, I'm like, I'm going to go full time in this. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to go full time. I think I had 25 lawns. I was trying to justify in my head, how does $500 a week worth of cutting grass before expenses make sense to quit your job? Because that was a half or even less than what I was making at the body shop with great benefits and all the things that everybody always tells you why they got to keep a job. And then, yeah, so 2015, right as this is happening, I think April 1 was the quit date. Well, I think 2 months before that, or a month and a half before that, I found out I had my first kid on the way. Totally unexpected. We just got engaged. Like 2 weeks after that, had a kid on the way, and it's been all in from there. You know, it's been just balls to the walls. Do everything you can do to grow the business and get it rolling.
Cool. That's awesome. So 2015 to 2021. So you've been in business like 6 years.
Yeah. And if you count that first year because I did it, it's like 7.
Cool. That's awesome. So like, how is being a business owner, like having a team of people and leading that team? Because I know you constantly are working on yourself to be a good leader. How has that impacted yourself? How has it impacted the business?
It's, you know, constantly working on myself and having a team, you know, and knowing that like the team is only going to be as good as, you know, the head of the team like elevates himself to. It's crazy how it's radically educated me at, like, if you allow it, like if you do the reading, if you go to the conferences, if you try to learn, the radical progression of education is like tenfold what school would ever do. What could I ever done for me? For one thing, when I was at school, I didn't want to be there. Like, that was like the worst thing in the world to me. So it's just crazy to see when you're really committed to something, how much it'll change you, and how much, like, I feel it's not like I look down on people by any means for it, but it's crazy that I look at people that to me now I'm like, oh, that's a normal person. They don't have a business. They have a job. They're kind of doing normal things. And I look at them and I'm like, wow, it's crazy that they just haven't experienced all the crazy, between the crazy things people will do, the crazy money things that happen, the crazy experiences. Like you get introduced with building a team to every kind of person in the world, and they just stuff happens that you can't even explain. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's crazy too, because a lot of these people are just so talented, and you'd be like, dude, you'd be like a way better business owner than me. Like,
yeah,
but yeah, no, it definitely totally agree with you on that. And like, honestly, that was one of the biggest things at the 10X growth conference that I took away was like, it's all about the think, man. It's all about the belief and like, how big is your vision?
mm-hmm.
And then like, if your vision is small, like you're going to get gobbled up by someone else who has a bigger vision.
Yeah.
And then if you have a big vision, then you can really like attract a lot of those team members and people that are going to help you to fulfill that vision. That's what a lot of the speakers talked about.
It's so crazy that bigger vision, you start having these experiences with hiring and building a team that you start getting the big vision. If you can, like you said, perfect way to say it, change your think, like, raise that belief that you have, and you start being radically different than the businesses around you. Like I know that people look at me and they're like, that kid's a maniac. He's out in left field. But the people, it's so weird that you start doing that. You start pushing, you start saying, hey, these are the opportunities we're going to build. I am determined to make that happen. And all of a sudden you're like, how did I attract that type of person? How did we really get someone that's that badass on our team? And then it just like naturally, organically just continues happening. I hired somebody yesterday. We hired five people this week. And someone walked in, knows nothing about the industry, but he sparked my interest so much because he was the first person here. And I was going to get some Starbucks and came back. He was standing at my door and he's like, what's all this Grant Cardone stuff? Knew all about Grant Cardone. Like the kid I've never seen someone interview as good as him. Like, I feel like he should just be a salesperson. I don't know why he's interested in the field, but I feel like, where did this freak of nature come from? That's like in my lane of what I want to create. Like, I know this kid is going to be awesome. Like we asked him, we said, hey, tell us a little bit about yourself. He's like, you know what? I'm more interested in what you want out of an employee and where we're going to go together. And I'm like,
Jeez.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
How old was he?
Man, he is young.
18, 16?
Gotta be 16 or 18.
Really?
And he's read the 10X rule. And as we were sitting there, I said, you ought to check. He said, I just finished the Millionaire booklet and one other one. I said, you ought to check out Be Obsessed or Be Average. And then, so we did a big bulk interview where we brought in like 20 people and 2 sets of 2 were flying through these. And then we were doing finals and saying if we're offering jobs at the end of this. And so he was in here on the final. Everybody loved him. I knew they would. You could not love this kid. And when he finished up, he's like, I think my final question for you guys, like, just, do you have any other books that you'd suggest? And I said, probably just, like I said, check out that Be Obsessed or Be Average. He's like, well, do you have any besides that? I already ordered that. It's going to be here Friday. I'm like, what?
Unbelievable. So. Yeah, honestly, like the way like Google and YouTube are like operating, like you can find so much information and value online where you can be 16-year-old kid and come to an interview and say, hey, I want to see what you guys are looking for in me, and how can I align my interests with your interests so that we can do something big together.
Yeah.
That's a guy you can build with, though.
Yeah, but that's the crazy thing. Not every business would attract that. I'm not saying my business is special, but you start seeing these people when you're in a world of hearing everyone say employees suck, can't find any good employees, blah 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 blah, and then you start having these gems that you just don't even understand where it's coming from just show up. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, it's like, how did this happen?
Yeah. Did you guys advertise for that or?
Yeah. We advertised for it. We emailed our list of clients if they knew people. And that's really been the most successful thing. I don't know why we stopped doing that. We just now realize it's like we need employees and we need them now. Like we're running out of time before the season starts. And it's probably been 2 years since we've been done a bulk interview. And it was the most successful thing we've done in the last 2 years. So we're going to start doing them more often.
Wow. That's great. So maybe it was your messaging, you know, you're getting better, your messaging's getting better, so you're attracting the right type of people, you know?
Yeah. It's something. Whatever it is, it's good.
Yeah. So what does your team look like? You know, we keep talking about team. Like, what does your team look like?
Our team is anywhere probably from 14 to 15 people in the off season, maybe lower than that. That's probably our average, up to like 20 people in season. And right now it's a focus to get the correct team members at the bottom and build up from there. But really now it's like we're trying to strategically focus what the management looks like more. I'm actually kind of like trying to build that out more than I am even the teams. So we can handle more subcontracting, handle more of what our teams are doing, and really just try to create a very, very efficient machine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, as of right now, I've got my organization chart like always on the wall, so I can dry erase board it to change anything anytime. There's kind of like a head of landscaping and a head of lawn care in the office. Then it goes down to like a field manager from that watches over the teams, and then that breaks out in all the different crews. There's probably anywhere from 10 to 12 crews running in our operation.
Good. Wow, that's awesome. No, so do you do a lot of self-performing, or do you do a lot of subcontracting, or is it kind of like a mixture of the two? Or
so this was something that me and you were talking about a lot this weekend. We've never really subcontracted.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I was gonna say that's the 10 crews. That's a lot of crews.
Yeah. And well, I've always had such a stranglehold. Like I talked to you, and I kept talking to more and more people about this topic this weekend. And I mean, that's what conferences are for. If anybody's listening to this and they don't, they think all these high ticket prices, it's about getting around quality people to ask quality questions to try to progress your life and help the people around you. And yeah, I've always had this stranglehold because I wanted to control the experience a client got. And I realized, wow, we're really good at making a great experience. Why don't we just control the overall experience and roll in other services and not actually perform it, just manage it? Since that conference, I've already got 2 pool guys on the line that want to work with me, several guys, 2 guys that the team's met with. Only one's good enough though, that would maybe take on some of our commercial mowing so we could really hone our staff. And then I've talked to at least 1 deck builder already. And coming up next, we'll be meeting with concrete providers so we could literally, like when we send an email, it's powerful. We sent an email about a spring service earlier this week. That email had, by the end of the next day, I think had 56 new requests for service from people that we service that just don't have that service. So I know that if we could go out and say, hey, how many, who's interested in a pool? We're teaming together to give you the Scooters Lawn Care experience with these, a couple of our quality partners or whatever you want to call them. And I know that that's going to be a massive growth drive in our business if we can roll all this stuff up and do it together.
So would that be like an affiliate deal, or would that come under Scooters Lawn Care, the pool under Scooters Lawn Care, and then you would just pay him out as a subcontractor, or how would that work?
Pay him out as a subcontractor. They still are going to all do their own work, obviously. Yep. But if we can feed them a lot of work, and like I said, we can control the experience. I just want to make sure that everything I'm doing is legal. It's all okay to 100% subcontract some of this stuff here, because I know it's kind of touchy in different areas, but yeah, that's the goal as of right now, to do more and more of that. Because yes, we've always handled that original question, everything in-house, to the point out of my pure drive for control, which is ridiculous, that we were getting into, like, I was out doing flat work, finish work on concrete last year a couple times because one of our guys couldn't be there. And it's like, that's ridiculous. Every time I go out in the field, it's painful because it feels like we're losing money. So I know. We're going to completely step away from that. We're going to really focus on what we can do without the involvement of me whatsoever, and sub out even more stuff so we can manage bigger things for clients.
No, I'm excited with now that you're saying that concrete work, you're going to add that to the repertoire, because I know the type of money that's in there. Like, people can do some real, and then you can get a lot of it done in a day, man. You can really, you can really transform your business on that. Yeah, that's good, man. I love that. I love that you went to a conference and you're hearing all this stuff, right? And you're distilling it down into like, what can impact me? What can I do in my business to get me where I want to go?
Yeah. And it's like, and that's the thing, like people get caught up, like, and I keep talking about this, because people get hung up on ticket price. I mean, you hear this all the time of like conference or this or that, or anything. And, you know, for me, it's always about that one thing. This conference was subcontracting. That's the one thing. Now I did a ton of amazing networking that's going to build relations with new people that I'm going to stay in touch with. And I definitely raised my belief, you know, on what we could accomplish. But that one thing is so big. Now we're going to take action on that and drive that one thing forward.
Yeah, no, that's big. That's huge. Yeah, because it's really just your thinking, your level of thinking, and it didn't really hit me until like all the speakers are really good, but it didn't hit me until Don Peebles spoke, right? And he was speaking and it was like totally resonating with me the entire time. And then like afterward, I bought his book and I was like listening to that, and you know what I realized is that I've been thinking too small. Like I'm thinking I'm doing big stuff, and I relatively like I know I'm relatively like it's like in compared to what, you know what I mean? Like there's in compared to a lot of people, I'm doing big things, but then in compared to like where I want to go, it's like not that big. So I'm listening to the books, this book that he wrote, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, man, he's getting the same scores that I was getting, and you're getting the same scores that I was getting, right? But like, it's just dependent upon the deal size. Like if you're doing a $200 job, right, and you have a 100% score, like your cost is $100 and you make $100, like you're like, great, but like it's still only $100. Like if you think about it from like a $200,000 job, if you hit a score and you make $100,000, it's like great, it's $100,000, but at the end of the day, it's still only $100,000. Like
it could be 10 million or 100 million,
right? Like
relevant. That's
the stuff that he's talking about. He's talking about buying a property for $7 million, and then it appraises for $80 million. Like it's the same scores that I've gotten that you've gotten, but the numbers were so much bigger because he's playing in a bigger sandbox.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like the wins are out there. You just got to be in the right opportunities and in the right vehicle. And like we are in the right vehicle. We just need to shift some of the things that we're doing and focus more on the bigger ticket things, so that when we do get those wins, it's like, oh, wow, this is a nice score here, you know?
100%.
Yeah, no, so that's good. And then like when you brought up the price thing, like someone who's going to get caught up on the price isn't really committed to their goal.
100%.
They're not committed to their goal because their goal is $1 million, $10 million, $100 million, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's $1,000 or what's $10,000 or what's $5,000? It's a fraction of the goal.
Yes. I've had this conversation with people, and because I've had people just straight up bash the things I was doing, people that and that's why you really got to watch the people you spend your time with, because I've had fairly close people look at me and like think I'm crazy for the things I do, the events I go to, the amounts I pay. And okay, so $10,000. What is $10,000 if the one idea or like this event, whatever the amount I paid for this event, subcontracting, like I can literally see how it could be $1 million deal this year. This year, in the next 6 months. What is $10,000? Or even if it's only $500,000, what's $10,000? What's $30,000? What's $100,000 if the number's big enough of the upside?
Right. It's because the people are focused on
right now
on the cost instead of what the opportunity is.
Yeah. What was I don't know who said it, but one of the guys said short step, long vision.
Yeah.
You know, look at it's what's down the road. It's not about what these little things that are happening. You know, those are the little things that'll make you get there. But, you know, it's not about like, oh yeah, I had to have this kind of uncomfortable thing I paid for now to have the long vision of the badass stuff I've got in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. Totally agree with you on that too. So as where are you headed next? I know that you're doing the stuff here in Springfield. What are you looking to do next? And the lawn care, the landscaping business?
So it got pushed back because of some crazy, like probably a day right now because of some stuff that's going on with my wife's
I
business.
got a pushback and it's a day, but
Okay, well,
most people are like, oh, I've been pushing my goals back for a year, 2 years, 3 years. So like, you get it okay with the day, dude.
but we've already got the business licenses in place. We are opening and technically reopening. I've already failed technically at this once. But now I'm approaching it with a much better outlook on everything. And we are opening another division in Southwest Florida, Cape Coral area, or Cape Coral exactly, right next to Fort Myers. That, if you don't know that well, usually knows where Fort Myers is. And there, that's going to be a heavy focus of rolling up contractors I can work with to sub out larger projects, and then focusing like in-house on maintenance and some really, really high margin stuff like landscape lighting or stuff that we can just kill it from Naples all the way up to the area we're at. And, the growth ability there is, I had, and Oliver, I think I told you this while I was down there, probably 400 times because I repeat myself, but I had the same thing happen in my business that happened in my job. And I'm not near, I'm still several years from the limit, but I was several years from the limit at my job, and it's already gave me anxiety. It's made me feel like this isn't good enough because I know the end. I need to go somewhere where the end is much further down the road. And so that's why we're making this move. We've done really well here. We're going to continue to do really well here. I've got the best team we've ever had. This is going to act like the call center for every new location we ever make. But we're going to expand into a market where the growth cap is so high that it would be hard to get there.
Got it. So just to add some more clarity to that. So you're saying that you felt constricted in Springfield,
yes,
Illinois, right? So because of that, you're opening this other location in Florida, which I think is an amazing move because I know the potential and the growth and that's already happening there. And you're just like, you're going where the opportunity is. Like, you're not waiting for the opportunity to come to you or saying like, I want to be home. We're close to home. Like, you're going to the opportunity, and the opportunity is in Florida with the amount of people that are moving down there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's going to be massive. Okay. So what is operations going to look like down there? How are you getting this thing off the ground? Because that's like my first question.
So getting it off the ground, this is just super basic. It's going to be, I go down there, I buy a new truck to pull the trailer that I'm using to haul stuff down, and we've got the equipment. My dad, like I said, he's a workaholic. We're not going to have a ton of stuff starting off. I'm going to be helping operations up here, doing design and estimating still a little bit, or some of the sales. And then I'm going to be working on building up the book of reputable contractors and the book of work I have down there. So it's going to be a lot of networking. My dad is going to act, and he's going to, while he can sustain it and it's a short route, he's going to start the maintenance services because pool maintenance will be one, and mowing will definitely be the other one that my dad will heavily be involved in. And then the goal is in 1 month's time, need an actual employee to help him. And that's the slow play of if I just go down there and I just idle into it. The people that were mowing my lawn while I was, because I had to have someone mow my lawn because I rented the house a month and a half ago. So I've known this company because I was down there before. And when I canceled service, I said, hey, have the owner call me back. I'd like to ask about potentially buying his company. So I've already talked to one of the owners of it's not a huge company, nothing like what we have up here, but I'm already talking about acquisition down there as well, since we did a little bit last year.
Love that. Have they talked numbers or anything with you?
No numbers. The second that he said, like I was talking about, I get to bottom line really quick, in the conversation. I want to know, here's where I'm going to base the value of this off of, is the bottom line. And I feel like as a business owner, you should, even if you don't know the exact bottom line, you should at least have an idea of last year's bottom line. And it always concerns me when someone doesn't have a rough idea of that. And then right after that, when they say, well, it's all about the volume. So I've had a couple things that I've already assumed about this company that are real big pain points that I know would either make it where we don't buy it or we buy it for like rock bottom dollar. So
cool. Yeah, well, keep me posted on that, and I'd be interested in seeing what shakes out from there.
Sure.
So your dad's coming down there with you, and he's gonna be the boots on the ground, actually executing in the beginning while you're getting all the
Yeah, for the first several weeks. Yep.
Cool. And then how are you going to market? Like, how are you going to do any of that stuff, like advertising and all that? Or
That's
how are you going to get known?
okay. So I'm going back to an area where I've already got 300 leads in our system from. Okay. I've already, before I've even went down there, I've started networking with realtors in the area and people that I'm just wanting to connect with because I got a lot more goals besides lawn and landscape, but also that networking is going to help our growth. We also are going to really we're doing a big push up here with Every Door Direct, and we're going to start a new one down there too. And we've always been super, super heavy like SEO web presence. And we just this year started doing what we've been talking about with subs, farming out all of our marketing to someone that's doing a much better job than us and doing very laser targeted AdWords and Facebook campaigns towards certain services in like a tight niche area. So those are going to be some of our original or, our starting focuses along with door hangers. It'll roll from there into acquisition and different things as we expand it.
Cool. I got 2 questions. So I wanted to ask you from before when you were talking about your email list, how big is your list?
So my email list for Florida is only like 300 people.
But how big is it in Springfield?
5,000 or
Good.
6,000 people.
Great.
It's dramatically grown. And then, so here's another thing we're going to do down in Florida. And we do this just as a list builder. We know we're not going to sell hardly anything off of it. Every year in Illinois, we give away 1 free year of lawn care. And we know that there's going to be some stipulations on that. Like it's not going to be a 10-acre property or anything, it's going to be a small yard. That's ideal. And, the amount of leads when we let that run for like a month and a half that we pull in off of a giveaway like that, we've really realized instead of like the discounts that everybody's so excited with offering, the power of like small giveaways in comparison to the amount we have in ad spend, the leads and names it drives in the system is crazy. So that's another big focus we've got going on.
So let's look into that. So you do a giveaway for the whole season. You're cutting their grass for the whole season.
Yeah. So, and that's why it's such a big deal because maybe somebody's doing that. I mean, for us, it's like, it's $1,000 value, that's what, for the person we're picking that on, it's like $1,000 to $1,200 value. And to be known as the company that does something like that and the excitement it raises, like we're just all about creating noise. That's all we're trying to do is be really noisy and be doing a lot of different stuff.
Wow. That's cool. You got some ideas like sparking in my head. That's really cool.
Well, I mean, it's like just look at
hold on. Do you attract the wrong customer or client when you do that though? Because now they all they want is free.
I've thought about that a little bit, but overall the goal has been, I just want more names. It's $1,200. It makes names fly in the door. And even if they don't fly in the door, people see that we do that. So it's something on Facebook that's happening for a month and a half that people are actively seeing this thing that when you say that you're going to give away a free year of lawn care, think about how many times that post gets shared. Think about, even if it's not your ideal client, when they share that, well, they've got how many people do you even know on your look at friends on Facebook, so it's sprinkling out upon the ideal client. It's a shotgun blast approach. It's not focused, but it's just, it's more of a noise creator than it is anything. I just want more people to be talking about us and have something that more people can share.
It's interesting. And then they got to like enter their email in and like everybody that gets in there gets a free lawn care, or is it like you pick the top 10 or?
No, it's one person.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You're doing this big giveaway because one person's going to win.
Oh, got it. Love that.
Wow, damn, you're making this sound expensive.
That's a lot of lawns.
I'm not trying to go broke here, Oliver.
I was thinking, wow, that's a lot of lawns.
Yeah. Just one. But it's just about the noise that doing that one, like these posts get shared like hundreds of times. And each person's got thousands of friends or hundreds of friends,
Yeah. Love that. And then you pick one person out of it. Okay. That makes sense.
Yep.
Love that. Okay. Yeah. So that's not really attracting the wrong, because it's more of like a raffle.
Yeah, yeah, it's like a big raffle. People get excited about it. Hey, Scooters Lawn Care does this every year. And then we do like some other giveaways. Like I said, I want to give away $200 or $300 worth of stuff to incentivize more names to come in the door every month. So, you know, it could be anything from something landscaping, maintenance, whatever, just trying to drive more traction. It's all about names. I just want a large volume of names. So when we go and do what we said the other day, um, when we go and email our list and we have 50 responses on just aeration and overseeding. So now we have the subcontracting idea. Have that big, strong list and say I get 10 people say we want a pool. Or no, say we get 20 people say we want a pool and we sign 10 of them. That's a $600,000 email.
Yeah. Well, you got 10 like at 10 pools at 60 grand a piece. And
Yep.
that's probably that sounds like it might just be the pool. That doesn't even sound like
Yeah.
the
That's probably not the whole. That's probably not the whole deal. It's probably by the time it gets said and done, it could be like we've got one. I mean, the one of the pool companies we've connected with, we've already got one project. We're kind of spooling up with them. The pool was 80. Our landscaping was like 70 or 80, and that's probably not even including other stuff that's going to have to get done because of so much stuff happening. So, I mean, if you start looking at it like that, it could be $1 million. I mean, it could be anything, you know?
That could have a massive impact on your business. And honestly, it's not going to have a massive impact on the time because it's not going to be your manpower and your labor.
Mm-mm.
It's going to be it's pretty much going to be going straight to the bottom line.
Yeah.
Maybe some little oversight here and there, but straight to the bottom line.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, like 100,000, like if that email, that building that book works that well and we get those 10 pools, that's $1 million thing potentially. If they're ideal clients doing the whole 9 when they do their pool.
Totally agree. Love that. So I want to ask you about COVID. Did your business suffer at all through COVID? Did you take advantage of any opportunities through COVID? Was there any opportunities that you could go after through COVID? How'd you do?
Before it was how we did, I want to kind of hit on what I was thinking, you know, and I just, for everyone else out there, I had no idea what to think, you know, and I was looking back, I met someone at the conference that's in my same industry, and I'll tell you where I screwed up last year. He went to Vegas Growth Conference. I didn't. He came out of Vegas Growth Conference and said, screw it, I'm going all in. I don't care either way. I walked in like a lamb to get slaughtered. You know, that's so did it hurt us? No. Was I super, super fearful that it would? I laid back in all ways I could lay back. I wanted to be conservative. I was super concerned for all the right reasons. I wanted to keep my team employed to my maximum capacity. You know, I didn't know if there was going to be money coming to us for any of this stuff or any kind of aid. I was very just like, I got in this scarcity mindset where there was another person that sold projects and I felt like she wasn't as good as me. And I said, I don't care. I'll work 10, 12 hours a day. I'm seeing every client if it's a big project, I'm seeing them all because I want them sold and I want them sold now. So that was kind of my attitude. And it took us till about June to get where we started surpassing the year before. That never happens that way because I didn't hire and I didn't execute the way I should have in spring. It slowed us down. But yes, we were able to take advantage of PPP and like an EDIL grant and use that to, in that time where we didn't know if it was going to be bad, kind of level out the business and make sure we were good. And then once we kind of got through this, as you get into that June and July, we realized, holy cow, this hasn't been bad for our industry. It's been good for our industry. Everybody's spending time, even if they are at home, it doesn't make them have more time to mow their lawn or do their landscaping. Now they just look out the window from their kitchen into their backyard and see how screwed up everything is all day instead of only seeing it for a few hours before it gets dark at night. So literally, like, we went into August, and this never happened. August is always my most stressful time of year. I make YouTube videos, and I can look back 3 years running, except for last year, that I would make a video based upon stress in August. And 2 years, 3 years apart, I actually dropped a YouTube video about stress on the same day of August. Like, that's how like focus that time's always been for me. It's been a stressful, slow time. And this past year with everything going on, we had August sold as much as we could possibly do before we even got into August. So it was a booming year that then rolled into us acquiring a $800,000 or $900,000 maintenance company at the end of the year to add that to our book of work, and all in all, it was a success.
That's awesome. Now, you can't just say, "Oh, we acquired a maintenance company," and just leave it at that. Let's dig into that a little bit. What did that look like?
It was a pretty big deal for us. We were probably a $1.5 million ish company alone, or like we did $1.3 million the season before we did this. So we were able to, I'd been looking for other companies that wanted to get rid of their book of maintenance because we do so much large project that I would like to have like kind of an even keel of reoccurring things as well, instead of the kill or the hunt, kill, eat thing that you have to turn around and continue doing. And so I'd called all the big businesses in town probably 2 years ago. And it was just, I don't know what it was about COVID year, but he ended up calling me back and saying, "Hey, you know what? We talked about me being interested a year ago, but I'm ready. Let's do this." And he probably said this maybe in July. And his whole thing was, let's get this going and let's do this and get this rolled out for next year. Gives us about 6 months to make things happen. And I didn't immediately say this. When I tell the story, I always like to act like this is my immediate response. But really, like within as I was thinking about it, met with him and then talked to him, I'm like, you said 6 months. I think we should do it in 6 weeks. I want to take this thing over September 1st. I want to service these clients into the following, into the end of the season, so we have as much chance to show them who we are and keep the retention as high as possible. So that's exactly what we did. We were able to write a check for the assets we needed to buy from his business. He self-financed over, I think it was 5 to 6 months, depending on, I had like an option to do 3 months at this year, or I could do it in 2 months if I wanted to pay it even faster. And he self-financed all that, and we inked the deal, made it happen. And, we added probably $800,000 to $900,000 worth of revenue to our business. But the catch-all to that is more of a, double fist woo, is our marketing is so strong that he didn't know what I saw. I saw the gold, just like the Mo giveaway thing. I see the gold in the names. I don't care about that one time I serviced them. I care about that big list of people that they didn't have a good office, a strong office that could upsell, use emails to upsell, chase more work, build client value, send out educational stuff to really build and raise the amount of those clients. And, I plan to take that list and say his average client value is 1,000. My whole goal is, I think they were underserved in this instance, and I think we can take that list, and if they were all 1,000, I think we can make them all 2,000. I think we can make the $900,000 deal a $1.6 or $1.8 million deal.
Love
because
that.
they could buy more stuff.
Yeah, they got a double right in the business. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how many people did he have on his list?
Clients. I mean, there was a lot of inactive names that we're able to add to our list too. But I think there was probably like 600 to 800 people that were serviced.
Okay.
It was kind of a mix. I don't remember I think it was closer to 600, between their fertilizer and their mowing and maintenance side of things.
Cool. And then when you say you're going to go in there and add, increase the value, or through education, what does that look like? Can you explain that? Dig into that?
So we send out 2 emails every week. Tuesday, one of the hottest days to email people in the world. So that's our first one. And then typically like a Thursday or Friday email. And a lot of them are really focused on some form of, it's not just like, hey, I have this new thing, buy it. We'll be talking about what is the thing that if you're working on your own lawn, this is something that's really important this time of year, just giving away useful tips. I've also started doing YouTube video. Like I did a YouTube video about the different type of treatment packages we offer. And we sent that out to our clients so they could see what all in, video description is, what can we do as a company? And so those are all educational things. Of course, there's a link to put in a quote, like an upsell request from there. And the education alone, the fact that we go out and educate, it just drives more and more sales. And then when we ask for a sale, it's even more powerful.
Right. Right. Because they feel like you've given them something.
Yeah.
You've given them value.
Yeah.
Love that. That's really good. Yeah. So you're going to go to that list that you purchased of the new business and go in there and add value. Then when you go for the ask, your ask is going to be bigger than what the previous company's ask was. I love that.
Yeah. And even going into the fall, I mean, we had several $4,000, $11,000 dollar jobs that we were able to, like, these people were just asking us for because they didn't have the capacity to produce any of those jobs, and we do. We were able to just do so much more for every client in general. You know, we're a more overall total service provider than they were.
Wow. So you were like, you created the synergies with those clients.
100%.
Love that. So Jacob, I want to ask you one final question, and that question is going to be, what does the word entrepreneurship mean to you?
To me, it means being someone who is going to push forward into the future and create. You know, just someone that is driven, that is pretty much self-sustaining, that is just obsessed with creating stuff and obsessed with, and that can be businesses, or obsessed with creating more and more money. It's just, that might even be a better, if it was a one-word thing. It's almost kind of an obsession, you know?
Yeah. Obsession. Yeah. It's like be obsessed or be average, right? Like if if it's not what consumes you, then something else is consuming you, and it's just not going to work, because there's so many problems that come up. There's so many challenges that come up. And if it doesn't consume you, you're never going to work through them.
Yeah, and that's the craziest thing that I realized. Like, so I'm going to Florida for the second time, and my dad's best friend, so he was always that guy over here that had his own business, but he hated employees, you know, because he'd done it and then kind of retracted from it. But so I've always had him in my life as kind of like an entrepreneurial person. And it's funny to see where being an entrepreneur can take you. It's funny to see like how much you can push out. You know, we're going to have to cut this because I just completely forgot where I was going with that.
You don't got to cut nothing. We're talking about being entrepreneurship and your dad's friend, and like it's where he was going with something.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I lost my great thought. I had a great direction I was going.
It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. But man, I mean, all the stuff that you're doing, man, is just awesome, man. It's like you're doing such awesome stuff with like buying businesses. You have your team that's rock solid. You're going down to Florida to go create another team, and you're already talking to businesses down there that you can acquire. Those are things that, like, if you don't have that courage muscle, like, you're going to be scared to do it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like, what do you do to build? I'm going to ask you this. What do you do to build up your courage muscle?
I just keep doing stuff that's super, super uncomfortable. You know, I think that's big, you know, just like, whether it be financial, whether it be people related, just a lot of times I'm doing stuff I don't think I can do. You know, I write this, I don't know if this is actually something somebody else has came up with or I came up with it, but like every day when I write my quote in my planner, it's always, you know, and that's what I like. You know, I've always got this, and I always have been thinking the same thing. I used to go to different quotes all the time, and I always put, if you knew there was always a way, would you ever be scared? And that's so powerful to me because like I've been through so much stuff. You know, with racing and some other stuff that's came up in my life. I've had a couple events where I've almost died, and it makes all this business stuff pale in comparison. And it always just keeps me to push. What makes me want to keep going, because I keep finding a way. And that's where, whenever I've always been a Mr. worried about the financials, and the wife gets on my ass about it all the time because she's like, Jacob, I've seen you in every position worry and freak out. But you know, the one thing I've never seen you do, I've never seen you fail. I've never seen you in the worst, darkest place not come up with a way to come out of that. And she's like, and the truth of it all that is way more powerful is that right when it's the darkest is right before the light. Like every time you're super, super scared it's usually that next inch where it's going to be, wow, dude, I can't believe this happened in my life. And that's where I always talk about that, like pulling that, stretching that belief, stretching that comfort zone. It's like a rubber band. The harder you stretch it, the more loose it gets, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's what you do. You push out there where you don't feel comfortable, and that comfort just gets bigger. That courage just keeps getting bigger. I said this, I'm sorry, I'm getting off on a rant now. I'm trying to make up for where I just completely forgot.
No, you're getting it right on the head, man. You're killing it, dude. That's talking about the courage muscle.
I remember when I first started the business compared to now. And the only way I know to talk about the progression, this may sound completely ridiculous, but driving that comfort zone, making yourself be able to handle more and more and more. I look at the things I handle now, and I know if I had to do this like in the first year of business, I'd probably just wake up and cry every day. But now it's like, I don't even care. It's like what I do is not that big of a deal to me, but that's how much you've got to like change yourself to be an entrepreneur.
That thing your wife said was crazy, but that was good too. I've seen you stress about money and finances, but one thing I've never seen you do is fail. So let's roll.
Yeah. Well, it's so crazy that like I told her like I didn't have a diamond ticket this event. She's like, "The fuck's wrong with you? Why didn't you have a diamond ticket? Why were you on that yacht?"
Dude, that yacht was fun.
But like she's always. I always have this limiting belief where I'm like, she doesn't know about the money, so she didn't know what to say. But then when I look back at it, it's like, fuck, she's always right. It's the same way with employees. She's like, fire him. I see him from the outside. You don't see it. You're an idiot. You should have got rid of him. And it's crazy. I guess I'm getting there with money too. It's like someday I'm going to eventually realize my wife is just usually right.
But now you're going to use these as experiences and be like, you know what? Now I've already made that mistake before. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And then you're now going to get those results for that. And it's going to be unbelievable.
100%.
100%. Man, I love you. It's been awesome chatting with you. And I appreciate you pouring into me and the audience. How do people get in touch with you?
You can check me out on Jacob Godar at YouTube.
You can't just say Jacob Godar. How do you spell Jacob?
Oh, yeah, Jacob Godar. So yeah, let's get into this. So it's exactly how it sounds, so it's not bad, but Jacob, J-A-C-O-B, Godar, G-O-D-A-R. So that's what it is at YouTube, at Instagram. If you're in the lawn care and landscape industry, you want to grow your business, there's jacobgodar.com. There's opportunities to get templates that'll help you grow your business, marketing, email scripts, all kinds of things to help you sell more stuff. And there's also a membership platform where there's training involved, all focused around. I have felt extremely blessed to do what I've done, but just like Oliver, it's crazy that you get there and you're like, wow, this is 100 miles away from where I want to be. But I still want to try to help all the people that are struggling, at least get up to where I'm at, so they can be right there with me, understanding that there's a million more miles we can go. Let's keep running.
Let's roll. Let's do it together, brother.
For sure.
I appreciate you, man. And I look forward to doing some awesome stuff with you. I know we're going to do something. I can just feel it. We're going to do something. The energy's just aligned, and we're going to do something.
We're jiving. The love is there. I get it. There's something's going to happen. We're going to definitely do something big. I want it to be this year.
Yeah.
We need to shorten that gap.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's make something happen, brother. Appreciate you.
Cool. Talk soon, dude.
Hey there. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please click subscribe down below and give me a thumbs up. You can reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook at Oliver Fernandez 3. I have new videos just like this one dropping every week. So drop a comment down below and let me know what you want to hear next. Until then, keep growing and keep learning. Just do it.